Hey everyone, how are you?
Hi, Lisa.
Hey,
Hello.
hey. It should be
Hey,
late
everybody.
in the meeting. I'm excited to see everybody. Don't y'all all love impromptu webinars?
Yeah, is that Robin Moss in
It
I
is.
I would say not in the flesh, but in the Zoom, I guess, right? Since we're not in the same room. Well, we're in the same room digitally, I guess, right?
Yes.
It is most definitely Robin Moss. It's so
How are
nice
you?
to see everybody today. I'm just going to give it a few minutes for the people to join here. Get everybody in here.
Well, Lisa, I just want to say thanks again for the invite. I so love that you always do these things.
Oh, well, thank you for coming in, Jay. And I see Victoria. It's so happy to see Victoria. She has her audio muted, so she can't hear us. Hey, Roger, how are you? Roger came on video for a quick second. I heard Bernie. Bernie doesn't have her video on or her
I
audio.
don't because we have no air conditioning and I'm all sweaty, so you're not going to see me today.
Oh no, that's horrible. Hey, I'm just glad
Oh,
my
yeah.
AC. I'm just glad my AC is cranking.
Hey, that's not very funny. Bernie and I are in the same boat.
You too, Greg?
Yeah, I am, Bernie. I'm waiting. I just bought a new unit on Wednesday. They come in Monday to put it in.
That's a long time.
Yeah, I
And- and
I went out.
Hi,
I went
everyone.
out and bought
Hi,
a portable
Lisa.
air. I bought a portable air conditioner.
It's I have one, but it keeps burning out. And then we're having an unprecedented heat wave here in Texas on top of it all.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
not much-
absolutely no fun.
Not much better in Alabama, I can tell you that.
Well, we'll just give it another second and then we'll go ahead and get started. So, you know, the thing that inspired this webinar was actually some things that I've been seeing in Bing search result the last couple of days. A friend of mine, he's actually on the webinar, Frank, a friend of mine, Frank, actually was looking at his Bing listing and he was like, hey, this is super interesting. And so then I started digging in and looking at it. And so then got really into what's happening with Bing, Bernadette, Bernadette, for those of you that haven't been on one of the webinars before or attended a Rocks Digital in person, Bernadette is the co-organizer for the Rocks Digital Marketing Conference that happens every year. She helps me with all of these things. She's co-founder of Rocks Digital, the entire brand, along with me, and my partner in the agency that we have under the Rocks Digital umbrella now. And so Bernadette's always been a strong advocate of Bing in addition to the Google Business Profile. And so the more and more I dug into this, I was literally like on the call with her yesterday. I was like, have you seen all the things they're doing in Bing? And she's like, I got to study this more. This is super cool. And then I called her back. How late did I call you back, Bernie? Like just a few minutes later. And I'm like, that's it. I'm going to do a webinar.
Yeah, that's it.
So it's just super, it's super powerful. And so I just wanted to show you all the things I've been learning. And, I miss having the conference today. Bernadette and I made the painful decision to postpone the conference this year because our agency's just been growing so much and it's just been demanding a lot of time and primary focus. And so, but I had been feeling kind of sad this week not having the conference. And so yesterday when this came up, I was like, we're definitely doing it. We're doing a webinar, impromptu. I actually called a friend of mine and said, I'm going to do it. And he was like, how many people are going to come? And I was like, you don't know me. Well, I have like 65 people registered. So I'm glad to see everybody here. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and then we can kind of dig into this a little bit and show you the things that I have been seeing along the way. And I actually went in and started working on Bing listing for Rocks Digital to give y'all kind of a little preview of what it looks like, because that I hadn't even actually created one for Rocks Digital, which so Bernie was actually like, we need to do that. If I could ask, I'm gonna go ahead and mute everybody. So I'm muting. So I have muted everybody except myself, and of course I'm gonna unmute Bernadette. But so that we can go ahead and get started and not have interruptions. We do have a chat in here. Feel free to chat with each other and amongst yourselves and ask any questions in there that you have, and we'll try to look at those and address those when we get to the end of the call. So thank you so much for coming in today, and let's get going here. So this is one of the clients that I'm actually going to show y'all some of my research with that I have came up with today. And so here is, I have somebody in here saying I'm frozen, so maybe that's went away now. So this is my Roofing's Bing listing. And this listing has already been claimed. I am going to go through the kind of the edit process with y'all so y'all can kind of see what that looks like. And so if you haven't claimed your listing, you can go to bingplaces.com. And if you already have a listing out there that you haven't claimed, you can claim it, or you can actually search for your business and then add your listing in. So here is Mize Roofing. Of course, we have their business name, their phone number, their address, and then here's their website URL. This business has multiple locations. And so we are actually linking his Bing listing to his specific location page for his Houston location. Now you're going to see on here, and I might be speaking Greek when I say this a little bit, but you're going to see we actually put a UTM tracking code on all of our Bing, Yelp, Google Business Profile listings. We do that so that we can actually look in Google Analytics and see the traffic that's coming from that specific listing in comparison to how many goals it's actually triggering on the business's website. So we have a UTM on here that says Bing Places, along with the link to his Houston, Texas website URL. You're going to walk through this. You would go through next. You can pick your business categories. I do recommend that you select multiple categories. Now, unfortunately for him, there's not a lot of option. We can actually add in here another category as insurance. Going to add it in here. We can add in, I was thinking that there was insurance inspector in here in Bing. Maybe that's in Yelp that I'm thinking of. But you can add multiple categories, and I highly recommend you do that. Add as many categories as you can. Then you would describe your business, and then you want to go through here and mark all your service areas. If you go to a business's home, so for those of y'all that work with clients that have a service area business, or you are a business owner and you have a service area business, you want to put in all of the cities that you represent and that you go do business in. Put as many as in that Bing will allow you to do. If you do not want people coming to your business storefront or to your home, which is the case of the Rocks Digital listing, then you would definitely want to hide your address from search. And otherwise, you would show your business address, and then you would mark if it's a professional or a business. So if you're a professional, you might be a solopreneur, a solopreneur, a consultant, an attorney. Victoria's on here. She would be considered a professional versus a business because she's an actual attorney. You'll want to mark those accurately. And then you're going to want to fill in your contact information. Any of these links that you can provide. If you have a Twitter or your Yelp or your TripAdvisor, your Facebook, add any of those in that you can, because these can be visible in your actual Bing listing in search results. So it's important that you do that. And then you're going to want to go through and add images of your business that are relevant. So for example, if you look at his, these are a bunch of roof images because he's a roofer. And then you can actually select the categories that are appropriate. Now for him, a lot of these are other because he's actually a roofer. And so people would, these are just pictures of roofs. They're not his logo or whatever it may be. So you definitely want to mark these images accurately. Now, another thing that happens on some occasions is Bing will actually go out and they'll comb the web, and there'll be other listings in your Bing listing that people have posted that are not actually your business. And so you're going to want to go through and mark those, report those, etc., if those should be removed from your profile. Once you walk through those steps, you're going to want to do your business hours. If you want to provide professional phase, that's fine. And then you're going to click submit from there. Okay, now we didn't actually make any changes in this listing. I just want to kind of walk you through that process. There are some other things that you can do within your Bing listing to help you. You can go in right here and you can do add advanced information. Okay, and you can see right here his Facebook and his Twitter that Bing's actually pulling in. So you're going to want to go in here and you're going to select add advanced information. And then this is where you could put in your LinkedIn URL, your Instagram, your YouTube, additional URLs that you may have. I already showed you one place where we could put in like the Facebook and but this is another section where you can add in more URLs. You can mark any amenities that are relevant to your business. And so for example, you could do wheelchair accessible entrance, free parking. If it's owned by women, you could say that. That's really helpful. If it's a woman-owned business or if you're a veteran-owned business, that's very important to own. Now, I do recommend that if you are not these items, I don't want you to mark no on them. I just don't want you to mark them at all, okay? Because you don't need a flag and draw out, no, the business isn't owned by women, or no, it's not owned by a veteran. Just don't mark it at all. If you're cash only, you can mark that. If you provide free Wi-Fi, if you're Black-owned, but fill these things in because this will help you. If these, especially these last three, they will help you to show up more relevant in search. Now, I did actually make a change on his listing here. And so I could simply just click save and change that if I wanted to change that right now. And then it would start applying across his listing. So optimizing a Bing listing, it can seem pretty straightforward. Now there's some other things that I want to mention. So you can actually, if you have a really well optimized Google business profile, such as we do for Rocks Digital, you can actually import your Google business profile. You can sync those two together and it'll optimize your Bing for you and it'll bring in a lot of that information. You can actually even make it so that anytime a change happens on your Google business profile, it will actually keep it synced and keep making changes. Now, the downside to that is that if you are syncing all the time and you make a specific change like your website URL and you put that tracking in there, it's different from your Google business profile. It's going to continually override that URL. So I recommend that instead of doing a sync that is long-term, that you would just do the one-time sync option and then maintain it yourself after that. I actually did just test the sync feature before I started this Zoom. I tested the sync feature and it'll only let you bring in. So if you're an agency and you manage multiple Bing listings, it will only bring in up to 10. And it brought in like the first 10 Google business profiles. It didn't actually get to Rocks Digital, so it wouldn't let me do the import for Rocks Digital. So I had to manually create that listing. But that is something that you're definitely going to want to think about and kind of consider. I really personally, and this is something that Bernadette can speak for with Advice Local. One of the things that I really like about one of the features Advice Local has is, and Bernie's actually written about this a couple of different times. We actually invited all the Advice Local partners on here. And so if you if you are a partner, if you've probably read Bernadette's email that she sends out every, it kind of varies, Tuesday or Thursdays usually is when it goes, used to go on Fridays. One of the things that you can do is you can actually optimize, and I love this, it's so cool. You can optimize your dashboard in Advice Local's platform, and you can sync that to your Google Business Profile, and then you can sync your Google Business Profile to your Bing, which I think is super cool. So that's kind of a cool feature. You can do that a couple of different ways, but that is something that's cool. So I have a couple of people asking if we're going to provide a replay link. Yes, we'll absolutely provide you with the replay link so that y'all can walk through it again. There's going to be a lot of information in here. That's not the only thing I'm sharing. I did walk through the Bing optimization component pretty quickly because I wanted to really have time to talk to you about the things that we're seeing in the Bing listing in search results and how you can optimize your website or your client's website to really stand out in search a little more. And so that's why I did move through it quickly, and I apologize for that, but I did want you to know that we will be sharing that with y'all. So so the thing that I was mentioning is through Advice Local's platform, which is pretty powerful, you can actually do that syncing process. Advice has a feature where you can sync to the Google Business Profile, what you complete in the dashboard, and then you can sync that to your Bing. They actually include also Bing, they don't do the Bing claiming part of the process, but they will do public syndication for Bing, and that's included in all of your listing distribution. So if you're a Bing partner, if you're an Advice Local partner, I just want you to know that Bing's actually included for y'all. Rocks Digital actually is a Bing partner. And so a Advice Local partner, we use them for our listing management. And one of the things that we do is we actually have them, we use them and they do the initial Bing part of the process. And then we go through and manually claim all those listings so that we can add all of the extra things that we want in there that I've talked to you about, like the UTM and those kind of things. So we have them do that initial syndication for us, and then we manually claim them. And it takes a lot of the initial heavy lifting out of the process. So that's kind of how we use it at Rocks Digital. It's super cool. So I've showed you Mize. I showed you Mize's Bing. And so I didn't actually bring up their Houston location, but I'm going to go ahead and show you the Mize Roofing listing in Bing. So I want to challenge y'all. Okay. And I'm using Safari as my browser, and I'm going to blow this up so y'all can see it a little better. Let me know if that's still hard to see for those of y'all on the recording. Watching the Zoom, just let me know if y'all can see that pretty well or not. That way I can make sure that if I need to make it larger, I can certainly do that. But I wanted to let you know that, so this is their Fort Worth location. So for y'all, you would go to bing.com in your URL bar. You would just type in bing.com. And then it'll bring up, and I'm going to bring up a view to show you what that looks like. So you would go to bing.com like this, and then you would type in your business name. Now, Victoria, I hope you don't mind. I'm going to type in Rowlett Family Law in here, just because I've already done the searches for the ones I want to work with. So I'm going to type in Rowlett Family Law. And that's what it looks like. You just press enter, and now you see your Bing listing right there. And so I'm going to go to Mize. I just wanted to grab an example here real fast for y'all. So here's Mize Roofing. I searched for Mize Roofing Fort Worth. And you're going to see on here that the Mize listing, it's actually bringing in reviews from their Facebook page. Now, it'll bring reviews in from different places, not your Google Business Profile, however. So it brings in reviews from Yelp and other places like that. Bernie and I were looking at this, I believe it was yesterday, and it was actually bringing reviews in from another site that we hadn't even paid that much attention to before. So it's going to bring in your reviews. Every business's Bing Places listing brings in a little bit different information. Now, this is pulled together by Bing's chat AI that they're using. And at this point, I haven't found a way to control what Bing displays in this AI. That doesn't mean it's not possible, because like I said, I just really started digging into this part and looking at this just this week. But from what I can tell in my online research, at this point, it doesn't look like it's giving us an option for that. So for this specific location, it's bringing in his website. It offers directions, services, and a contact us. It's bringing in his reviews in here. It's bringing in, some things that people are mentioning. It's even showing some reviews here. It's bringing in these frequently asked questions. And I want you to notice here, it's showing, it says, see all 10 questions, and it's telling you it's bringing the data in from the business website. Here, it's bringing in their social profiles. These are coming in from the Open Graph tag. I think it's interesting that they have a YouTube, because I didn't remember having a link for this specific client on his website for YouTube. So I think it's interesting it's bringing that in. Over here on the left, you can see here, it's bringing in questions that people ask, just like Google will have people also ask. These are other roofing companies. The first one is about him, Mize Roofing specifically. And then the other ones are just other roofing companies that go across the list. And then when you can scroll down a little more, it's actually showing you pages on his actual website that you could go to related to Mize Roofing. Now, and then also it shows you this other content on mizeroofing.com, and you could go to see more of it. So the things I want to show you and the differences is, so we're going to do a couple clicks here. So when I click directions, obviously it's going to take you to Bing Maps to get directions, right? Now, when you click services, and I don't understand why it picked the residential roofing page. I do not understand that, but it seems like Bing's AI is picking a page on the website, and I can't find a specific rhyme or reason to this yet with the multiple listings that I've checked. But I do want, and this is the point in having this webinar today that I really wanted to get across to y'all. It is very important for each one of you to go in, if you have a Bing listing, see what Bing says about your business, see what buttons it's taking the user to on your specific Bing listing, and then consider optimizing that page. If you don't have a services button, and I'm going to talk about a strategy to deal with that a little bit later, then that needs to be addressed too. So, I'm clicking the website button on here, and I'm doing this for all of our clients. So interestingly, I click website, and it's taking them to the Fort Worth location page, which makes sense because is this the Fort Worth Bing listing. And so we would have used that exact URL when we would have created that Bing listing. And so it makes sense that it's following that path properly, which I think is great, because honestly, I didn't click this button until today, so I wasn't quite sure where this one was going to take me. Now, when I click services, as I did earlier, it's taking me to the residential roofing page. Okay. Now I want you to notice I brought up his San Antonio Bing listing. Okay. And I'm blowing up my screen here so you can see it. Now, when I click services on the San Antonio Bing listing, it's taking us to the commercial roofing page. Now, I cannot tell at this point any rhyme nor reason, as I mentioned earlier, as to why Bing is doing that. And I have a question here. You can't actually add your own questions on Bing, unfortunately, Chris, like you can do on a Google Business Profile. It's actually pulling from the business website. So there's no rhyme, no reason to what page it's pulling the services from, which is one reason I want to challenge every one of you to make sure, if you're an agency and we're going to do this for Rocks Digital, and we've already started this process the minute I discovered this, to go through and look at all your clients' Bing listings. If you're a sole proprietor, you own your own business, you do marketing for a single location business, go in, look at their Bing listing and see what pages Bing is bringing in, and then make sure that those pages are well optimized or representing the business properly. Going to be very important. So here for Mize, for these two locations, it's bringing in two different service pages. Now it's bringing in the Q&A section right within here from the actual business website. I do like how you can click see all 10 questions, and then it brings up this expandable QA for all 10 questions. And then you can click data from business website. This is actually a link. You can click that, and it's taking us to the business's Q&A page on their website, which I think is really cool and very important. So if you do not have an FAQ page on your website or your client's websites, you definitely want to add one. That is like a must have to do, so that Bing will actually potentially bring in the questions from your client or your website to your listing. As Chris asked, you can't actually add the listings the questions manually, and so you have to pull them in this way. So that's one thing I wanted to make sure that y'all were aware of. Now, I looked at San Antonio listing, and remember those amenities that I showed you earlier that I said you can mark free parking, realtor acceptable, those amenities? These actually are pulling in from the Bing profile. This is the business description that you would add within the Bing listing also, okay? And then the Q&A is pulling in, same thing from the business website and from the exact same page. So for these two listings, and I have not checked all of his, I just brought these two up. He has multiple locations that are brick and mortar. I just only brought these two up. But I was glad to see that they were bringing in the Q&A page from both of these. So the other thing that I think is very interesting is I looked at a couple other clients. And so here is a different client. This is Choco Allergy, Alpharetta. And this is his Alpharetta location. Now, when I click the website link, it's actually taking us for him to his homepage. Now, I'm guessing that this is what is his primary location. And so we probably actually just linked this one to his homepage within the Bing listing, but I did not verify that. So I just want to caution about that. If we click directions, it takes us to of course, to the Bing map. Now, if we click appointments, because we're going to notice for him, he doesn't have services on this. He has appointments and a contact us. So when we click appointments, it's taking us, and this I was not thrilled about to see, honestly. This is his coming location page. And so I wanted to show this to you because Bing's AI is pulling this information in. And for this specific client, it's not pulling it in properly. It's taking you to his coming location page. Well, in reality, it should take you to his Alpharetta location page because this is his Alpharetta listing. Unfortunately, this is an AI, and at this point, we can't make any specific changes. You can go through and suggest an edit process and work through this. But as you can see here, and you can try to make your changes within here to try to get that changed. And that's what we will work through for all of the clients and actually make those edits and hopefully get them accepted that way. So that's one thing that we're going to work through for everybody. When you click the contact us in here, it actually does take to the business's contact us page, which I think is a good thing. I'm waiting for it to load here. I can just tell by the URL, it's going to take us to his generic contact us page. So that is great, but it's not pulling in a services for him. So also interestingly, so for this one, you can notice it's only bringing in 5 questions, right? It's only bringing in 5 questions. And I'm like, well, where are they bringing these 5 questions in from? Because this client has an FAQ page. So when I click business website, it's actually bringing in the FAQs from one of his allergy treatment pages. One of the things that we do at Rocks Digital, and I want to encourage every one of you for your own websites, for your client websites, no matter what you do and who you represent, it's very important that you add FAQs on all of your clients' service pages because of this specific reason right here. We can't control what page Bing is bringing in at this point for the FAQs, but it's important to make sure you have them, right? So it's pulling in this page. It's chose to bring in these FAQs. This page is structured to have FAQs on it in all of the headings and being elected to bring them in this way. I actually brought up 2 different listings for this specific client because I wanted to see if I could find a rhyme nor reason. So here is his coming location on Bing, okay? And it's actually bringing in the exact same page for the questions, which I thought was very interesting. I was like, well, that's kind of interesting that they picked the exact same page because for mine, they picked different pages, right? And when I click on his appointment link page, it's actually taking us to his main location page that talks about all of his locations versus his individual location. So as you can see, there's a lot of little bitty differences and discrepancies in each one of these listings, which is why it's very important for you to audit them. Now, Robin had a question here, and she's wondering if it's picking up with the H1s for the services, H1, H2 for the commercial page. And I mean, that very well could be a factor. That very well could be a factor, but we have H1s and H2s on all of the pages for Mize Roofing. So there should be no, if that was what they were going off of, you know what I mean? I'm not for sure that makes 100% sense, but I didn't look at the keywords. It could be that one page had the word, those 2 pages had the word services in them. I mean, that could be a factor in there. It's something that's a guessing game. So the one thing I wanted to show you, and I got Frank's permission to share this with you. This is the green top listing for in Bing. And you can see here that his says just website, okay? And when you click the website link, it's taking you to just his primary domain, primary homepage, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly here. I'm just going to give it a second to load. Yeah, it's taking you to his primary homepage, right? Now you're going to notice here, there's a special announcement section that it is showing. I didn't point this out to y'all when I was showing you the Bing listing, but there's actually a special announcement section that you can add. And so if y'all offer anything like a free legal consultation or a free quote, one of our clients, you know, we put up request a free quote. I'm actually going to go in, and we do this these stay up for, I believe it's 90 days is how long these special announcements can stay up. And so we actually have a repeat where every 90 days we'll go in and we'll actually go in and add the new announcement again, adjust it up a little bit. Kind of think of this like a GBP post, except for you don't actually get to put up a bunch of posts. You only can, I mean, you could put up multiple announcements, but the most recent one is what's going to show. And we could expand this, and there's even an option to put a website link in here so that you can actually link to whatever the special is on your site. And so that's a great thing to do to leverage this special announcement section for your clients. You can see he has his amenities in here, got some reviews coming in. Now, this is very interesting, and one of the things I really wanted to show y'all, and this is very important. So for Frank, it's bringing in an actual FAQ page on his website, okay? And there were multiple questions on the page, but only several of them were really written like a question. And so, and this is a strategy that you definitely want to use for your clients. You want is go in, look at what page that Bing is pulling in for your FAQs and make sure that page is optimized really well. Frank actually right now is going through and reworking his FAQ page to make sure the FAQs are accurate he has on there and add more FAQs, because we did find on Mize Roofing that it was actually bringing in 10 FAQs. And I've done a little bit of testing on some other client sites, and it looks like 10 is the most it will actually bring in. And so you'll want to go in, make sure whatever page that Bing is bringing in, that is well optimized and that the questions are actually accurate. So I wanted to show you a couple other Bing listings and just kind of some of the things that it's doing here. So this is a different client and they're bringing in his services and they're bringing in his FAQ page. And you can see here, it's only bringing in 3 questions. This is very similar to the same thing with the allergy doctor that I showed you. It's randomly picking one of the service pages on his website and bringing in 3 questions. So one thing that we could do, if we can't influence which page that they're bringing in the questions from, is you could go to your client's website and add more questions on that specific page. And hopefully Bing's AI will update and it will bring in those additional questions. So that's one thing that I really want to challenge y'all and get y'all to think about. Now, interestingly, for his services page, it's actually bringing in his service area page. So he has what's considered city pages on his site, and it shows the other cities that he will go to as an attorney, and it's bringing in his city pages. And so editing any of these kind of links, suggesting those edits are going to be really important for your clients and changing this out to a different page. Really, really important. And I showed you his FAQs already. Now, interestingly, and Bernie, maybe we can get Bernie. Bernie, what I wanted to ask you, what browser were you using when you were showing me the listing yesterday? Were you in Chrome by any chance, or was that because you're on a PC and I'm on a Mac? I don't know. Maybe she could unmute in a second and answer that question, because that was one thing that I was really kind of curious about, because I'm using the Safari browser here versus Chrome. And I wondered if maybe that was the difference, because Bernie's view had all these colored boxes and they were super pretty. And I was like, mine doesn't look that pretty. So here's a different one. And this is another example of, and that's why I wanted to show you this, why you want to really look at these. So when I click the services button on here for Joe Luce, it's for this listing, it's taking us to this other page on the site that says additional legal practice areas. And so we can do a couple of different things. One, we can edit what page Google is bringing in, or we can improve this page to cover all of his service areas. Because one thing that I'm seeing is it appears that Bing really is liking this kind of format for the pages it's bringing in. And so I recommend that you maybe consider having just a main service area page with this similar format, especially if your client has a whole lot of like different practice areas like this specific client does, because his main page isn't going to necessarily cover everything that he offers. But if you made a page with a simple format like this that linked to all of his pages, and you could even stick it in his navigation down here. That's actually what we're doing right now. I actually ordered this content from my writer just yesterday to actually write new content for this entire page that talks about all of his legal services. And we're just going to link this in the nav, and we're just going to change the wording a little bit from other legal services in the nav so that we're still linking it into the menu. But that's something definitely you want to do. With Green Top Lawn Care, you'll notice they didn't actually have a services button. And so one of the suggestions that I made to Frank was that he actually just creates, he has a service page on his site currently, but it's not showing all of his services. And so he's actually going to create a main service page. I mean, I actually just got a message, interestingly, saying that Chrome and Firefox both display the listings differently. So you definitely want to check it on multiple browsers to look at the different browsers and how they're displaying the listings when you look at Bing. And thank you for that information. They just texted me on that and I just grabbed it and looked at it real fast. But that's something you definitely want to do. And I wanted to see, interestingly, because since Frank doesn't have a service button, I wanted to see. So see how, because he doesn't have a service button, there's not an option for us to go in and add it here. And so by him creating that service page on his site, maybe we're going to cross our fingers and we're going to hope that the AI picks it up and starts linking to it. And so that's one thing that I really want to challenge you to do. So I showed you this McKinney listing and I wanted to show you the differences with this Victor listing because I thought it was very interesting. So for this Victor listing for Joe Luce, Joe Knows Law, it goes to the same service page that I just showed you. It brings in the FAQs, exactly the same 6 FAQs, and these are actually coming in from his FAQ. Oh, no. Oh, I remember now. I was thinking it was an FAQ page. He has an FAQ page on his site, but for this specific client, it's bringing in the FAQs from a blog roll-up tab. It's literally bringing in the questions. If we go back and look, these questions are coming in from the blog. See that? I thought that was very interesting. So it's actually pulling in these questions from his blog. And so that tells you right there that it's very important, okay, that you consider whenever you're working on a client's website or your own website, that you consider every component, because for both of these listings, for his McKinney and his Victor listing, it's bringing in the blog post titles from his blog. And I saw that and I was just like, wow, there's no rhyme, no reason to this at this point. This AI is learning. It's new. And so these are things that I discovered and I really kind of wanted to walk y'all through and share with you. And I'm hoping while y'all been listening to this webinar that maybe you've been watching your screen, maybe you've been doing some Bing Places searches for your business to see what your listing's looking like. This was the main core of what I wanted to get to talk to y'all about today. So at this point, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and we're gonna open it up for some questions that y'all may have and any thoughts that y'all would like to discuss related to this. So let's hear from y'all. I know some of y'all have something to say about what I've talked about. And y'all all have the capability to unmute yourselves. Nobody has anything to say? Not a single person? I see Frank unmuted himself. Oh, good. I see people unmuting themselves. Wonderful.
I said, great information, Lisa.
Oh, thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris. Isn't it so cool when you start digging into it?
Yes, yes. I have to use that for a couple clients of mine. So I had never really paid attention to Bing. I never really have. I have had it previously in the other company. I paid attention to it then, but I haven't for my clients. So this will be a good add-on for them. So thank you.
I'm glad you enjoyed the information. I thought so too. I got really excited when I saw it. So we have, I'm just going to go down the list here. I see Greg unmuted himself. Did you have something you wanted to say, Greg?
Yeah, when no one was talking, I thought maybe everybody cut out for happy hour.
Right, for sure. Not yet, but we're getting there. We're getting there. Roger, did you want to add something?
Yeah, I was just wondering, as we're talking about our own human resources, Bing has a relatively small market share in search. What's the trade-off between spending a lot of time on Bing rather than simply ignoring it?
Well, Bing's popularity is growing, especially since they've added in their AI. Their popularity is growing immensely. They're getting more of the market share. And the fact is, to really work through this, it might take you, maybe an hour to optimize your client's Bing listing or your own Bing listing. And along the way, while you're making improvements to your website, you're going to be improving your visibility in Google search also. And so to me, it just kind of seems like a no-brainer to do that. And I see a question here from, I believe it's Lasso. He's asking if the listing is claimed, does Bing still show the edit link? It actually does. All the listings I was showing you were actually claimed, and it was still showing that edit information. So yeah, it definitely still shows it for y'all to make an edit. So thank you for that question. I see here, CC, I know it's a lot of information. I didn't want to overwhelm y'all. I just really wanted to give y'all something to think about and to digest. And I definitely will be sharing that recording with y'all so that you can replay it and, study it in closer detail. And so that's definitely something that you want to look at. So let me see here. We had somebody, I was looking to see if there was anybody else that unmuted that wanted to say anything here. Feel free. If Melinda, I saw Melinda unmute. Melinda, do you have something you wanted to share?
Yes, I was going to tell you, I work for the city of Louisville, and I was looking at our Sun Valley Aquatic Center. There's 64 questions.
There is?
Yes,
That's
but it's pulling in, I guess, from our main city of Louisville site. So it's pulling in a bunch of random FAQs from our site.
Oh,
So-
wow. That's really interesting. I'm like, okay, I got to go Google that now. or Bing search it, I guess. I can't say Google it, right? I got to Bing search it and see what it is. Can you type that business name in the chat? So those of you that want to go check it out, they certainly could. Do you mind?
Yes, I can do that. Don't be too harsh on this though, because we just went through a redesign of 4 websites, and
No.
it's been interesting.
I mostly am just curious about this whole bringing in 64 questions. So that says something really powerful. And we have Jay Shu here. He raised his hand. You had something to say, Jay?
Yeah, in addition, you mentioned the AI coming into Bing, and Bing is starting to, get some greater traction. What other things do you see happening in the landscape, right? Because things shift, right? On LinkedIn, you can see when different web, Netscape versus AOL. And if you watch some of the historical things and how it shifts back and forth, do you have any predictions like what's going to happen over the next year or so with regard to AI in terms of market share and how Bing might, shift a little bit more? What kind of things would you recommend we be on the lookout for to kind of, pay attention and dig into and kind of have on our radar, I guess?
One thing that I really would like, I want to say I would like to see with Bing is giving us control of what the AI is bringing in, right? Like giving us a little bit more control. Like if the FAQs are not to the right page, let us have the opportunity, just like we can edit those buttons on the other side, give us the opportunity to direct them to the actual FAQ page. Those are some of the things that I would like to see. And I think as AI evolves more and more, I would hope that they're going to give us the options to have those, at least some kind of suggestions that we can edit in those areas. You know what I mean? Those are some of the things that I would like to say. AI and ChatGPT and all that, it's just blown up, and And there's been so many, and those of you that are on here that are SEOs, you know, everybody has different opinions on how they're using Chat GPT with their agency clients. And you know, the biggest thing is SEOs are going to go out of business. SEOs this, SEOs that. Well, I really don't believe that for a minute, honestly. And I mean, I think it's going to change how we do work and work for our clients. But I think it's made a lot of things easier. Sometimes things that Google uses as a reference point, but it doesn't impact SEO. Maybe it works to use Chat GPT for some of that. You can use Chat GPT to write you a outline for an SEO strategy even. I mean, I don't use it that way. We don't use it at Rocks Digital that way, but I did see it happen and I thought it was super cool, if that makes sense. So I just think that I would love to say to you, I know what the future holds in it, but I just don't. But I do hope along the way that we'll all have a little bit more influence in what they do, if that makes sense. That would kind of be my hope. And I saw Robin unmuted herself. Robin, do you have something you wanted to say?
Well, yeah, I mean, I was reading an interesting article about Microsoft and AI and Bing and everything. And, you know, the whole Microsoft suite now is infused with AI. They're trying to do a 1995 where they were, you know, they made huge sums of money and they had to have Windows. They're just trying to make sure it's not another Clippy, the talking paperclip that was
Oh my gosh, that paperclip, I have to tell you, that was the most annoying paperclip ever.
But if you think about it, that was their first foray into AI. Who would be asking if I could help, you know, can I help you? It looks like you're writing a letter, but, you know, and they're still going to do that, but in a more, you know, 2023 way, you know, because now people are more open to, yeah, sure, write the letter. You know, I'll just edit it if it's not what I want. Because, you know, you just, that's what people are doing with Chat GPT. They're presenting to the judge their brief that has made up links in it. Yeah, so cases and all kinds of things. So it should be interesting, but I think it's going to be really fascinating to see where all this goes, because with SEO, it really is going to be fascinating.
It definitely is changing how we all do business. That is for sure. So did anybody else on here? I didn't see anybody else unmute. Does anybody else want to have any thoughts or questions or their insights on chat or AI or the things that we're talking about here?
Well, I'll listen to what we're talking about a little bit with, I really wonder about hallucinations with AI, because one of the examples that I've kind of is AI is like a know-it-all friend who doesn't like to have an answer. So if it doesn't have an answer, it makes something up. And what I'm curious about is, what are the safeguards / guardrails to understand whether the information is true or not true? And I think that will permeate between all industries, right? If we just get so used to seeing a result, and if it's coming from Chat GPT or Bing or Microsoft or whatever, and it's information, how do we know that is true? Because if we're making decisions on that information, the truth and validity of that information makes a big deal. And if we, in a worst case scenario, we get into Enron situations where people are making decisions about businesses and other things based on things that just aren't true, right? That are elevated things. And so that's really kind of where my brain goes with regard to what Robin said is, you know, with SEO or everything else, how do we know that what's performing in the marketplace or on the digital environment is actually what's happening? right? How do we validate some of this information that AI is generating? So
Well, and
that's,
it's very interesting you say that. And do you know that commercial? And I can't, but that commercial is like, oh, it has to be true. It was on the internet. I can't think of the exact wording of that commercial, but y'all know the one I'm talking about. It's so stinking funny, right? And it's like, oh yeah, it was on the internet. It's true. Well, that's kind of the same thought process with this, right? It's on the internet. It's automatically true. Frank was actually just telling me the other day that he was using ChatGPT to generate some content for him, and the answers were like 100% not correct. He's in the lawn care business, and I don't remember what topic it was on, and he loves using ChatGPT. He uses it for everything. And he's like, yeah, like none of the answers were right. And it's because that so many people have written stuff on the web that are not accurate. And since ChatGPT is using that information on the web to write content, none of it was right. And so that goes to exactly what Robin said, and you too, Jay, that there has to be that human interface with no matter what to make sure it's accurate. I mean, and even Victoria can tell you that with the whole legal brief thing. I don't know if she saw the article that Robin's talking about, but I mean, she might find that a little bit. Are you using ChatGPT at all in your brief, Victoria?
No.
Yeah,
Nope.
I didn't figure you were. I didn't figure you were at all. But yeah, it's very that's the thing. Who's going to validate the information?
have you looked yourself up to see what the biography of Lisa Doody on ChatGPT? Have you asked that? Who is?
No, I have not.
Go do that. And when
I'm-
a friend of mine did it to me, it said that I had lived in New York City for years.
Oh wow. Now
So-
I'm going into my ChatGPT.
Yeah, so see what it pulls up for your own biography, and because it knows things about you, but it makes up a biography that a lot of time has facts that aren't true. Now, some of it made me sound great because I was living in New York and then living in LA, and I came back and did all this film stuff, but it's just absolutely incorrect, right?
I'm not even-
Combining you with another Jay Shu.
I'm not even important enough to
It
have
could.
ChatGPT, evidently.
Really?
Yeah, I cannot believe it. I'm offended.
Wow.
I'm offended.
Because there
Wow.
are 6 Robin Mosses in the DFW area alone.
Oh, so it could be blending information from all of the Robin Mosses into a biography.
Okay,
Right.
the next
That's
time it
interesting.
actually brought something up. The next time it did bring something up. I just typed my name without who is,
Mhm.
and it said Lisa Doody's co-authored books, and it has the name of my 2 books, but that's it. That's all it has.
Mine would come up that I murdered someone in England.
I am offended, ChatGPT. I'm gonna
Put,
look and
put,
see what it
put
says.
biography and see what it comes up with. Put your name in biography. I'd be curious to see what it does.
Let's see here. It basically just, oh no, now I got more. Okay, now it's giving me more stuff. And it's bringing in my books and everything. Okay. It decided it liked me now. Very interesting. It actually has accurate information on me in here.
Does it have inaccurate as well?
Digital marketing strategist, trainer, businesses. I'm going to drop this into the chat so y'all can see it.
Okay.
Oh, it says my message is too long. It didn't like that.
Share your screen. Can you share your screen?
Yeah. Let me share my screen here.
See, but this is what I'm talking about. When you have information that's correct and information that's not correct in the same stuff, it makes it very difficult to know what is the truth.
Yeah, it looks like that this is pretty accurate. It has my books in there. It has it's almost like it's bringing my bio in from some website.
Other stuff, yeah,
Yeah.
you've done.
Yeah, it looks like it's
Okay.
bringing my bio in, because, yeah, actually this, not to brag, but this seems pretty accurate.
There you go.
I'd like to know what it says about Bernadette Coleman. Bernadette's on there like, don't you chat that while I'm doing it, Bernie. Don't hold,
Oh,
don't
that's
hold it.
scary.
Let's see. Let's see what it says. Bernadette is quite impressive. It does have some stuff about Bernie.
Not a
Extra.
lot.
Not a whole lot, but it does have some
No,
stuff
it's
out there.
interesting.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It does have but it's accurate, the things it says about her.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's accurate. Now, that's really interesting. So anybody else?
I'm glad
use-
it didn't happen all those all that jail time.
those other Bernadette Colemans? Is there anybody else in there that Chris, did you try it with biography? Chris says she doesn't have any information on Chat GPT. We're all such nerds here. I'm gonna have to search Chris up now. I stopped sharing my screen, but we're gonna see if it says anything about Chris. Yeah, see, that's what it did to me several times, Chris. I had to search it like,
I'm a nobody. Now that I'm not in the garage door business, I'm a nobody.
that's not true. I had to search it multiple times to get it to work for me.
That's okay. I don't want to be
So-
known anymore, so it's all good
Well,
with me.
that's true. See, you actually work for the CIA, so now we know because your
Yeah.
account has been
Yeah,
skimmed,
maybe I
right?
do.
Yeah. So and then
So Melinda said she didn't have anything either. Melinda Stevens. I did go in and look at the Bing listing. Melinda put the link in the chat to that listing that she was talking about, and it has 64 questions on there. It totally brought in, and I'll share my screen and show this to y'all. I can't believe it. It literally has 64 questions on here. See all 64 questions.
wow.
The thing that I was wondering is, like, is it one page that, so they have basically nested URLs on this page, and it's scraping, so they're all on one page, but it's scraping all the questions from that page. That's really cool. That motivates me to want to make my clients' FAQ pages a lot longer, Melinda.
So just a little background on this page. So Leela, everything that they're questioning on this page is all housed under the Parks and Recreation Department, which Sun Valley Pool or Aquatic Center is part of Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
So that's the only way I can think that they're making it, tying it in together.
It must be, because that's so weird that it's bringing in 64 questions. You know, I'm looking at Victoria's. I'm not sharing the site, but Victoria's actually goes to an actual URL when you click the services button that says services, the one for Rowlett Family Law. And so hers totally is going to a URL that says services. That's so cool. So that's really it for the main part of talking about Bing today. If anybody else wants to hang out and continue to chat about this stuff, please feel free to do so. I'm going to leave this open for a bit. For those of you that haven't been to Rocks Digital before, I want to tell y'all a little bit. So Rocks Digital is an annual conference that started in 2012. I founded it as DFW Rocks Social Media in 2014. I partnered with Bernadette Coleman, who owned her own event called the Local Social. We merged those two together and we rebranded as Rocks Digital. It is an annual conference that occurs every year on June 30th. It was founded to celebrate Social Media Day in 2012. That's how I really founded it. And Bernie, didn't we start celebrating Local Search Day also?
Yeah.
Was that in 2014 or was that 2015? I can't remember. But
14, I think.
but we started celebrating local search and social media because they're so powerful that can you really have one without the other? I mean, they work so well together, especially because Google has really changed and the way it works, it's like they power each other. And so and you have to be social. I mean, that's all there is to it. And so I was really glad to get to come on here today and get to chat with all of y'all and share some of my knowledge and get to be social. So any of those of y'all that want to chat around, it's so fun to see some of the names in here. Tracy just turned her camera on. Tracy's been to a lot of the social media day events, haven't you, Tracy? How many?
Me too.
Yep, Chris and Victoria has actually been to, Victoria, you've been to every one, correct? Every year?
Yes, I have.
Victoria has been to every social media day conference. So me and Victoria are the only two that have been to every one, I think. Robin's been to almost every one of them, except for one.
Well, me
James,
and Robin are
I
in the
missed one.
same boat. I've missed one.
I was going to say, Chris has been to almost every one. Bernie's been to every one since we started working together in 2014. And I'm sure there's other people on here that have been to every one or at least multiple. I know James Bogus. I see James. He's been to quite a few of them in here. Jay's been to a bunch of them. It's really exciting to see how it's grown and get to see all of you. Andra Dunn, who's on here, she's been muted and quiet the whole time, but Andra's been to quite a few. Oh, Andra unmuted. Hey,
Yeah,
Andra.
I'm here. I'm listening. I've been to several. Yes.
Yeah, Andra's been to quite a few. Elena's on here. She's been to quite a few. It's just really exciting. There's James. Hey, James. He's multitasking.
Yes, you could tell. Oh, I just had to stop by and say hello, and I was seeing all the names and everything, so I just wanted to at least stop by and see what you all were doing, and miss you guys, and looking forward to seeing you in the future.
Yep, we'll be at Rocks Digital in 2024. We'll be back in person.
All right.
If you haven't attended the conference before in person, mark the date on your calendar for June 30th for 2024, because we'll definitely be holding it that day. Again, I'm so glad I got to celebrate Social Media Day with all of y'all in some way, even though we talked about being more than the actual social relevant part of it, but we're all getting to be social discussing being, right? Did you have anything you wanted to share, Bernadette?
No, nothing. I mean, you covered it all. That was very intuitive, and just tells me I got to start checking a lot of the sites that we manage a little bit more in the Bing sign. But like you said, I've always been pro Bing too, because it is a very important part of search. And I think with their Microsoft's acquisition of OpenAI, it's going to become even more powerful. So I think there's going to be a lot of cool changes coming. So this was really fun.
Well, and thank you because Bernadette, I didn't even mention any of that. So thank you so much for adding that. And Marco, I see Marco, he turned his camera on to join us. Marco's been to a lot of Rocks Digitals too, haven't you, Marco? I think his mic's still muted.
He answered in the chat for you.
Yeah,
did he?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now we can hear you.
Awesome.
Yeah, Marco's been to quite a few of the Rocks Digitals over the years. He actually was messaging me months ago going, are you going to have it? When? Send me a link. Where is it? And I'm like, I'm going to. And y'all, I have to tell y'all, I was going to have it in person. I literally booked, I had all the speakers except for 6 speakers booked. And I just kept getting closer to the date and closer to the date. And I'm just like, I haven't finalized a contract for the venue. I even had a venue already that Robin helped me find. I had a venue, I had it all. And I was just like, I just don't have the time to do all the promotional emails. And I was just like, I'm just going to have to postpone. And so Bernie and I talked about it and we're like, let's just postpone. We might decide to do something in the fall, depends on how things go around here. But anyway, I appreciate all of y'all coming on today. like I said, I'll leave this open for a few more minutes if y'all want to chat, and then we'll just go ahead and close the Zoom down, and I'll get the recorded link out to all of y'all so y'all can rewatch it. I'm actually going to put it on YouTube. I'm going to put it on YouTube. And so I'll actually probably upload it to YouTube and then share that link with you. And that way y'all can share it with whoever you would like to, if they want to know about Bing, people that work for you or whatever, so that they can share the knowledge with them too, because I think it's super cool. So I'll leave it open for the next, few minutes, and y'all can all chat, and then we'll end it for good. And thanks so much again for coming today.
Well, thank you, Lisa, for not leaving us hang, because, I was waiting for that email to join and come today, but, at least you did something. I'm proud of you for doing something. Thank you.
All right. I gotta bolt. Lisa, Robin, Bernadette, everyone, always good to see y'all. Have a great 4th of July weekend, everybody.
Thanks, Jay.
All
It
right.
was good
bye.
to see you, Jay.
Good to see you, my friend.
Hey, Lisa, are there any in-person like meetups or anything like that going on that anyone knows about?
So a lot of the meetup groups have just went to really online. Now, Chris, let's see, did Chris already?
No, I'm here.
I was going to say, Chris, do you want to talk a little bit about about the State of Search meetup that they're having and all that?
Yeah, so we still have State of Search by DFW SEM. We still have a monthly meeting. It's all live online. It's free to attend. We no longer charge for the meeting, so anybody can attend. And you just go to State of Search YouTube channel, and you'll see who our next speaker is coming up the second week. It's always the second Wednesday from 7 until 8. And then, of course, in November, we have our big State of Search conference where we have lots of people coming in town into Dallas. We're holding it in Grapevine at the Grapevine Convention Center, and pretty excited about it. We've got we're choosing our speakers right now as we speak. And we have some great people that are going to be speaking that can teach.
I'm dropping the link for
And
State of
we
Search
have
in the chat.
Okay, perfect. And there is a promotion going on right now. So if you want to get your ticket, we're offering it virtually as well as in person. Of course, I'm kind of partial to the in person because we meet so many great people and have so much connection going on that would love to see you in Grapevine, November 13th and 14th.
So you're going to have it in Grapevine this year. That's going to be awesome. I'm finding the YouTube channel for all of y'all too for their monthly meetings right now, and I'll drop that in the chat too.
Thank you, Lisa. I was doing the same thing, but if you're doing it, I'll let you do it. Yeah, it's a great program, and you can be a newbie or an experienced, and like I said, you can be notified when we go live, and we have some really great speakers. And we had Schema with Martha, we had Julie Jones with GA4, and she's always super good. And we had Kyle Roof with simple SEO tactics to build your website and pages. I mean, we get some really good speakers that come to the event, and eventually we may go back in person, but it's hard to pull people from home to come to meetings. So we made the decision to go all online.
Yeah, y'all been doing some exciting stuff. So y'all can and I dropped the link in the chat, and click the live tab, and that's where you can see their past events. And I've heard a lot of those speakers present. I was excited to see Kyle. I've only got to hear Kyle Roof present once, and it was really good.
It is really good.
Super interesting. So y'all can click the live chat for past events, and definitely want to check that out. And I'll actually be at State of Search. So if any of you go to State of Search this year, I always go every year. I love the conference. It's awesome. I had the privilege of actually being on a panel last year, which was a lot of fun. So y'all definitely want to check that out. And thank you so much for sharing that information with us, Chris.
Well, thank you for allowing me to. I'm happy to. I just think it's such a, even if you're a newbie, because, way back in the day, I was a newbie, and this is where I learned a lot of the information to grow the previous company I was in. And I grew that basically from 0 to 1.6 million by implementing things I learned not only at Rocks Digital, but at State of Search and DFW SEM. So it's well worth the investment because I promise you, if you take at least one thing home and go implement it, you'll watch your business change and skyrocket. There's
You-
just no doubt about it.
You absolutely will. And honestly, that's how I've learned a lot of the things everything that I really know about SEO has been through monthly meetups, the DFW SEO group, DFW SEM, and online research and all the articles. I'm reading up Search Engine Roundtable and Search Engine Journal and Joy Hawkins and all those kind of people. That's how I've learned a lot of the things that I even do. And then of course, trial and error, like this whole Bing thing. I'm super excited about that. And I cannot
Yeah.
wait to implement that. And of course, Bernie, I've learned so much from Bernie. I can't even tell you how much I've learned from Bernadette Coleman. I mean, she is a wealth of knowledge.
Well, there's a lot of people out there that are a wealth of knowledge and they're willing to share. But the key is, yes, you can learn, but you have to implement what you learn. If you don't implement, then you're really kind of wasting your time. But honestly, if a newbie like I was can, learn and implement, then so can you.
Absolutely. So much. I see Marco came back on camera. You have something to share, Marco?
Well, that when I got started in digital marketing, I did a lot of reading, and that's how I pretty much learned, was just by reading a lot of books and magazines and as well as journals, and I implement it into my my business.
Marco is a chiropractor, and he's implemented it. And I think you help other people out a little bit too, don't you, Marco?
Yeah,
but he
yes.
also did it for his own business, and that's how he did it, is by learning. And actually, that's kind of how I met Marco. I don't even know what meetup, honestly. Maybe it was a Rocks Digital. I don't know. Back when it was DFW Rocks, I don't know. But I've just kind of known him through that, and then we figured out we had some common friends along the way. So
Absolutely.
So thank y'all so much for coming today. It was great to see all your faces, and I'll get this uploaded to YouTube and send it out to all of y'all so that y'all can share with your friends. If anybody else has anything else they want to say, feel free to unmute, and then I'll go ahead and end this. Andrew, did you want to say anything? I noticed you were still unmuted.
I'm like, just keep learning because I learned from you. So I learned a lot from other people, but I appreciate you sharing all of your wealth of knowledge and the people that you meet. So thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And thank you so much for coming today. I always love getting to catch up with Andra. Well, I'm going to end this now, guys. Thank you so much. And hey,
Thanks,
y'all all
Lisa.
thank you. And y'all have an awesome day. And hey, happy social media day. And let's
Happy
remember,
Social Media Day.
we're going to continue to rock digital.
Amen. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you. Bye-bye.